So, die zweite Lektion von Station 5 ist Satzarten im Deutschen, ja, Sentence Types in German. So, we first of all have Hauptsätze, main sentences or main clauses. And there are different types of such. For example, Aussagesatz would be Ich gehe baden. I go swimming. Yeah, or I go take a bath, depending on the context. So, ein Aussagesatz is just simply a statement. We see that with a period at the end. Subject, verb, and here two-verb combination. Next one would be a Fragesatz, a question sentence. Kommst du mit? You come along? Now, here we don't have a question word. We use the verb as the question word. That's why it's first. Then we have an Ausrufesatz. We see that with the Ausrufezeichen, exclamation sentence, so to speak. Ich liebe die Ferien. I love vacation. Simply, basically a statement, just with an exclamation mark. Versus a Befehlssatz, a command, which would be spring ins Wasser. Jump into the water. We're using the command right here in the verb, and we don't have a subject because it's kind of included in the verb. And a Wunschsatz, which we had with the subjunctive to, hätte ich doch Zeit. If I only had time. That's the English translation for that. Okay, so these are pretty much a main clause. Again, those are simple sentences, kind of. And the verb is in the second position. Usually. We've seen examples like here, and also here, where this is not the case. And that has to do with the type of main sentence it is. Here, it's a question sentence. We have a question, and we don't have a question word, so we're using the verb as the question verb, and that's why it's first. Here we have a command. Command is just like questions with the verb. Typical scenarios where we start with the verb, but usually we have verb second. Here, this is also like a Wunschsatz. And in that case, we have an exclamation mark, and we start with the verb. So these three are actually special main clauses. Okay? So these two are very, very commonly simple sentences. We start with the subject and then the verb. And that's what the next slide points to. Verb, second position. That, however, pay attention to that, does not mean that the second word is the verb. It just means that the verb is second position. So let's look at this. Das Mädchen fährt am Wochenende nach Leipzig. Subject, two words, right? So verb is third word, but it's still in second position because the verb is second position. One is subject. Two is so here we have one, here we have two, unit, or position. Even though this is made up out of two words, because they belong together, das Mädchen. And then here we have other objects following, in this case a temporal object and locational object, am Wochenende and nach Leipzig. Compare to this one. Sie fährt am Wochenende nach Leipzig. Here it is the case that the verb is also the second word. However, this is just to show you how it can be different. Okay? But again, we have sie is first, fährt second. And sie is just a substitute, right? For das Mädchen. You can substitute das Mädchen with sie. Or, if you want to be grammatically correct, it's neuter, right? So it should be s. But since we know Mädchen is usually gender-wise a girl, or has a girl's name, then we use sie. Okay, that's a little confusing, but not really. You can also do an inversion. Remember inversions? We start with something other than the subject. We're starting here with the temporal object, am Wochenende. And then am Wochenende is taking in the position 1, right? But our verb is still in the second position, and then whatever follows, follows. And then usually the subject takes the position after the verb. So this is an inversion. Very important. Then we also have compound sentences with main clauses. So we're compounding two sentences that are both individual main clauses. And you use coordinating conjunctions to do so. Ja? Man benutzt koordinierende Konjunktionen, um Hauptsätze, Aussagesätze zu verbinden. Okay? Die meist benutzten koordinierenden Konjunktionen sind und, and, aber, but, oder, or, then, because. Ja? So, wo haben wir unsere Konjunktionen in den Sätzen hier? Und, aber, denn, and oder. Watch out, we have a comma before aber and we have a comma before denn. We do not have a comma before oder, we do not have a comma before und. So, why do I have similar sentences here coming up twice? Ich fahre nach Hamburg und ich fahre nach Leipzig. We have two, here's one sentence, here's the second sentence, sentences connected with und. What we can do if we do this, we can leave out equal elements in main clause compounds. Ich fahre in both sentences, right, is our common element. Oh, nach is the same too, right? Ich fahre nach, ich fahre nach. So we can omit it in the second part. You can just simply say, ich fahre nach Hamburg und Leipzig, getting rid of the second part right here. Similarly, in the next sentence we have, ich fahre nach Hamburg, aber ich fahre nicht nach Leipzig. Here we have, ich fahre nach Hamburg, ich fahre, and then it changes, right? So everything it changes after the ich fahre, which is the same, we then in the next way of saying the same thing can leave out. So ich fahre nach Hamburg, aber nicht nach Leipzig, right? We just take out this part because that is the exact same. We need to include the nach because the nicht nach means not to, right? So we have to be accurate. And the last two, we can't really do anything like that because it doesn't invite us to, right? Ich fahre nach Hamburg, denn es soll schön sein. Ich fahre nach Hamburg, denn Hamburg soll schön sein. We have the S, which could be Hamburg, but we're replacing it because we just mentioned Hamburg, so we're just saying S, it, the city. And ich fahre nach, there's nothing we're saying against, so that's perfectly fine this way. Similarly here, ich fahre nach Hamburg oder Leipzig. The full sentence could be, ich fahre nach Hamburg oder ich fahre nach Leipzig, but we already left it out here. So that's when you combine two main clauses. You can use und, aber, oder, denn. Yeah, these are the most common ones. But we've also, well, okay, let's take a step back and have you do a response activity. So, hier ist ein Beispiel. Du musst mit mir kommen und mich lieben bis zum Tod. Oder aber mich hassen bis zum Tod und darüber hinaus. Where do we have our conjunctions here? Yeah, und. Oh, here we have oder aber. And und. So, you must come with me and love me to death. Du musst, we left out in this example because it would be the same. Ja? Du musst mit mir kommen und du musst mich lieben bis zum Tod. We just need to say this once because we're addressing the same person and we're using the same verb to do that. Oder aber mich hassen bis zum Tod und darüber hinaus. Or however, here the aber is more like an emphasizer. Hate me until death and beyond. Now here we're just actually using und to add another little notion to the main clause. We can leave out again the same kind of subject and verb because it's still implied. Oder aber du musst mich hassen bis zum Tod oder und darüber hinaus. So, read Grim Grammar und mache die Übungen und poste deine Scores im Forum und reflektiere über deine Fehler. This shouldn't be aber, should be über. Ja? Deine Fehler, stelle gegebenenfalls Fragen. Okay, I want you to read this grim grammar, plug this in, do the activities, post your scores, and reflect about your mistakes. And if you have to ask questions, just like in the subjunctive 1 PowerPoint as well. And when you're done with that, you can move on. And that would be compound sentences with main and subordinated clauses. So we have one main clause and a subordinated clause, which means it hangs to the main clause. So wir verbinden einen Hauptsatz mit einem Nebensatz, indem wir eine subordinierende Konjunktion benutzen. Okay, so you're combining a main clause and a subclause by using a subordinating conjunction. Subordinierende Konjunktionen kicken das konjugierte Verb des Nebensatzes an das Ende des Nebensatzes. Remember, subordinating conjunctions are kickers. The mostly used are weil, because, ob, if, whenever, das, that, with a double S, wenn, if, when, not the question wann, which is also when, but only in meaning of a question. So also all the question words. Those are the most commonly used. There are more. Okay? So, meine Lieblingsstadt ist Leipzig, weil die Menschen nett sind. So we have two main sentences, or we have one main sentence. Meine Lieblingsstadt ist Leipzig. That's just a statement, right? My favorite city is Leipzig. Fair statement. But now we want to say why. So that's connected to the first part. So it's a subordinated clause, right? It's a causation. The people are nice. This causes me to have Leipzig as my favorite town. So weil die Menschen nett sind, is the subordinating clause. So we have weil, and weil kicks the verb to the very end, right here. However, what we can do is we can start with this whole part, and this whole part will take up unit 1, right here. And if we do that, then we have to have our verb second, right here. Yeah? So instead of meine Lieblingsstadt ist Leipzig, we have ist Leipzig meine Lieblingsstadt. We invert. Or here another example. Robert fragt sich, wie sie heißt. Here we have a question word, which kicks this to the end as well. Robert is asking himself what her name is, or how she is called. Freut sich, dass Clara da ist. He's happy that Clara is there. Again, this kicks the verb to the end. Okay, Responsaktivität 2. Hier ist ein Beispiel. Wer glücklich ist, sollte nicht noch glücklicher sein wollen. So here we start with the subordinating clause, right? This is the subordinated clause. We have a question word right here that kicks the conjugated verb ist to the end. And then we start with the verb, second position, and then whatever follows, follows. Who is happy should not even happier be want. So who's happy shouldn't want to be even happier. Read grim grammar, make the activities, do the activities, post your scores, same thing as with the coordinating ones, just for the subordinating ones. So here's the link. You can go there on your own and do the activities for this as well. There's quite a bit, but read also again the instructions on this, and you probably have a really good grasp on sentences. And we've done this plenty of times, even in semester 1, semester 2. So this is really a review for you to do. All right, enjoy, and I'm looking forward to reading your responses and the response to the response activities in the forums. And this forum will be called Satzarten.